What's going on? What's going on? So, today on Sensitive Thug, actually, let me talk about that real fast. Sensitive Thug. The term sensitive thug comes from a Jay-Z lyric off of his Blueprint album. He said, "Sensitive thug, you all need hugs." And ever since he said that, ever since I heard that, I don't know, like I've just repeated that over and over throughout the course of however many years it's been since he recorded that. And I thought it was, I don't know, I'm not gonna say I thought it was funny, but it was it was true. Like there's a lot of sensitive people out here, and it's okay. So like, yeah, we do need hugs. You need a hug too. Um, Today's video is about panic attacks. The reason why I'm making this video is to basically something dropped upstairs, but I'm gonna go over uh, what my panic attacks feel like. I'm going to go over the mental loop that makes them worse. I'm going to go over what doesn't help me. I'm going to go over what does help me. I'm going to go over how to communicate with a loved one that's going through a panic attack or that suffers from panic attacks. Should they reach out to you, things that you should and shouldn't say, and just some helpful tips. So this is like a double-edged video here for those of you that suffer like I do with them, and then for those of you that know people that do and that are just looking for some information that can help. So I'll just dive right in. I got some notes because I tend to get sidetracked. Um, the first thing I want to say about like having people around or a person to talk to. A few years back, I had a friend that worked across the street from my house, and I was having like a pretty bad panic attack, and I called her, and I was like, "Can you just come over here? Like, I need you. I'm having a panic attack." So of course she came, and she wasn't familiar with the panic attacks and like how to deal with them and what to say. So I found myself explaining to her what I needed and what did and didn't help in the moment, and it only made things like way worse. And it was like, whoa, like I, and it wasn't her fault. Like God love her. Like I appreciate her for coming and trying. So this video is for those of you that may ever experience somebody having one. This might give you some insight on how to deal with it. Um, so again, this is for the people that suffer from it and the people that want to help the people that suffer from it. Um, my panic attacks come out of nowhere. They don't really have a reason for starting. If I knew the reason, I probably wouldn't have ever gone to the doctor or, when the doctors ask me, well, what triggers these panic attacks? I'm like, if I knew the answer to that, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. You know what I mean? Like, hello. So I don't know. I mean, but I have noticed that sometimes I'm having like conversations about traumatic things in my life, or I'm like telling my life story and reliving some not so good points and or some really great points. I mean, it could be an amazing story, but it brings back a lot of memories and gets my mind thinking about my life, and sometimes that could generate some overwhelming feelings. um, and I do remember having a panic attack after one of those kind of conversations with somebody, um, and it was pretty scary. But like I said, most of my panic attacks just come out of nowhere. Just like most people, most people that suffer from panic attacks can't tell you why they happen or where they're coming from. Uh, some people can. Some people can tell you exactly why they happen, um, but more so not. Um, it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly why. Um, for me, panic attacks are physical, um, and for most people, I mean, from everybody I've talked to that has them, they'll tell you that they'll have physical symptoms. Like for me, I'll just talk about me. For I can't speak for other people. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here giving medical advice, any of that stuff. So that's my disclaimer. But this is just my story. They feel like a heart attack. They feel like I'm about to have a heart attack. They feel like I'm about to faint or have a stroke or something like very medically wrong is happening. So it's a physical thing. And the more I try to think about not having a panic attack is what makes it worse. Um, the reason why I'm making this video right now is it happened last night. I was having some nervous feelings, that lingering feeling before a panic attack actually strikes, before it like happens. There's like this lingering that happens, and I started feeling that, and it was just frightening. So I try to just stay calm and not to think about it. But the more you try not to think about it, the more it happens. Um, so I'll describe what I did last night after I finished telling you about what it actually does to me. Um, the heart palpitations, the heart fluttering. I can see it in the mirror. Like if I'm looking at my chest, like I can see the movement. Um, it gets really, really bad, and the you know it reaches a point to where it genuinely feels like I'm gonna die, and the whole fear of dying is what a panic attack is for me. And it's always like, what if this is the real thing? What if this is the heart attack? What if this is the one? Or this feels like it's the one. This feels like this is going to be the one that kills me. And there's no scarier feeling than feeling like you're about to die. Uh, it's really difficult to explain, but those of you that have suffered through these things, you know what I'm talking about. Um, you can feel it in your head. You can't drink. Um, like you try, they say try to drink some water. Well, it's like I can't swallow because like I'm so afraid. And it's, I mean, it'll slam the hardest dudes, the hardest people, the most tough people. It'll slam you. Um, and there's nothing you can do about it. So they tell you, um, they tell you to ground yourself, like put your feet on the ground. Notice the colors in the room, rub your arms. It's like breathing exercises, all these techniques that they kind of walk you through. The doctors, those don't work for me. Putting my feet on the ground, noticing my feet, noticing my hands, noticing my breathing, noticing the colors in the room or the furniture in the room or my surroundings. Like that stuff doesn't do anything for me but make it worse. Like every time I think about how I'm feeling and the steps that I'm being told to take to have that not happen makes it even worse. So for me, those things just don't work. And I'm guessing if you're watching this video, it probably doesn't work for you either. Um, I do take Xanax. I'm prescribed Xanax. I have been for many, many years. I take it at nighttime just to kind of stop my brain from wandering in a million different directions, just so I can like decompress from my day. They don't really help the panic attacks, um, because by the time a panic attack is happening, your body doesn't have time to react to that medicine because you're already in like panic mode. You're already in flight mode. Um, so what I do, um, I obviously I definitely first thing I do is I take a Xanax, hoping that it's going to help. I might even take 1.5, so 1 milligram, like so I guess 1.5 milligram. Um, and then what I do is I start getting dressed. I just think about what hoodie I'm gonna wear, what jeans I'm gonna put on, and I just start getting dressed. I put my socks on. I make sure I have on clean socks, clean underwear, because you never want to get to the hospital and have to change out, and you have mismatched socks on, or you look like a bum. I don't know. Maybe that's a insecurity of mine, or maybe I'm vain, but I always want to make sure that I'm presentable. But I mean, that's part of my routine. So getting dressed and thinking about what I'm going to put on is just part of my routine when I'm having a panic attack. And the whole process is to get to the car, to get to the ER. And the way that that started was about 7 or 8 years ago. Um, I had this massive panic attack. I thought it was a heart attack, and it was just the most frightening thing ever. So I drove to the hospital. I went in there. I said, I'm having chest pains. And they take me back immediately and put the patch on me to like shock you if your heart stops, and then hook the EKG up. There's like 16 wires all over my body, and gave me an IV with I think it was called Ativan, which I think is similar to Xanax. Um, and by the time all of those things happened, it was gone. I was completely normal. I was fine. Um, and after they noticed that I was fine, they basically told me they see this all the time, that I just had an anxiety attack. And I'm just like, wow, you hear about these things, but you don't think it's going to happen to you. And to the people that work in the emergency room, the nurses and doctors, they see this all the time. It's like normal for them, but for the person going through it, it's like the end of the world. And so yeah, that's the first thing that happened. The first time I went to the ER when I had a bad one. So the whole getting dressed thing is the process of flight, because fight I can't do. I can't do the things that the doctors tell you to do, the grounding and the breathing and all that stuff, because it just makes it worse. Um, yeah, that kind of annoys me when I think about like the techniques they tell you to do. But if it works for people, then awesome. Like that's great. I'm glad to hear that. You should definitely try those things. But if you're watching this video again, you probably have tried those things and they didn't work for you either. So I'm just telling you what works for me in my experience. I've so I get dressed, I get into the car, and I head towards the hospital. A handful of times, it's stopped before I got to the car, because just the act of me getting dressed and going towards the car will calm me down. It will like end the panic attack, which is great. Other times, didn't work. I'm driving. I'm feeling like I'm dying. I'm hyperventilating. I'm on the phone um, talking to my girlfriend, or before I got with this girlfriend, I was talking to my ex-girlfriend, even though she was my ex-girlfriend and we weren't together. I'm like, I need to talk to somebody, talk to me through this, because she knew how to talk to me through a panic attack. And which kind of leads me into my next thing, talking to somebody. Um, I was talking to somebody is very, very powerful, but you've got to talk to the right person. And I'm kind of jumping around a lot, but I'm on the phone while I'm driving to the hospital. And I guess I'll talk about the phone in a minute. So when I get to the hospital, most of the time I'll just sit in the parking lot, or I'll get out of my car and walk around the parking lot, let the air hit me. Um, and sometimes that, well, I mean, a lot of the times that's actually worked for me, knowing that there's doctors right on the other side of the wall there. There's doctors that can help me. So like just the thought process of that has actually helped me. And then so the conversation part, the conversations, um, they need to be distracting. They they need to be somebody that you can trust. I don't want to call my dad. I love my dad. I trust my dad 1,000%, but I don't want to worry him. He's a little bit older, so I don't want to worry him because I just the thought of worrying my dad is terrible. So I don't call my dad. Um, but if I do need somebody to talk to, I can call my sister. I call my girlfriend, and they know kind of how to talk to me. Um, but I don't want to talk about the panic attack. I don't want advice. I don't want to be told to breathe. I don't want to discuss the panic attack. It's like anything but that. We can talk about their day. We can talk about something that happened to them that day. We can talk about current events. We could talk about Kanye West, politics, whatever. Anything besides like what I'm going through is what I need in that moment. um, that distraction technique does help. So, when the doctors talk about distraction techniques, that is true. You do need a distraction. So, like the cold air, it's like that's a distraction. The conversation about something other than a panic attack is a distraction. So, that technique does has helped me. And recently, I discovered two people recently told me about sour candy. My girlfriend told me this a few weeks ago, and then somebody at work told me about this like within a couple weeks of each other. It was strange, but they said sour candy um, during a panic attack can like change something in your brain, like the sourness of the candy. Yeah, I mean, if you Google it, I'm sure you'll see that there is a correlation between like the sour candy and the panic attack. That it does something to distract your brain in a different way. But yeah, the Sour Patch Kids, I got some, uh, and I just keep them on deck. Um, so last night when it happened, I was having this nervousness and I was having this lingering feeling, and I started eating the candy. Well, I would suck the sourness off and then spit it out. Once it got sweet, I'd spit that out and start again. And I mean, I had like 10 of them in a napkin, and but I started to feel myself like start to calm down a little bit, and I'm just like, man, this is cool. So while I'm getting dressed, I'm eating the Sour Patch Kids. While I'm sucking the sourness off, I started to feel better. And so that was last night. It didn't turn into a full blown panic attack, but I felt like it was about to, and that's scary enough in itself. Um, yeah, I mean, maybe I'll try like limes or lemons. Hopefully, I never have another panic attack. But if I do, if I have limes or lemons, I usually keep lemons in the house. I'll you know try sucking on a piece of lemon, see what that does. Um, if I'm not just freaking out and just like having to get out of the house, maybe I'll grab it on the way out and chew on it in the car. I don't know. But yeah, that sensory, that palate sensory, I guess it can change your brain waves, and it can help. Uh, so for the ones out there watching this video that don't suffer from panic attacks, and you are just kind of trying to learn about them because you have somebody around you that does suffer, and you're trying to learn what to do. Um, Here's what helps. I mean, what I can say is stay calm. Um, Talk about normal things. Um, let them move at their own pace. Don't try to direct them and say don't do this, don't do that. Like, don't try to coach them. Be patient with them. Um, don't ask them like, what do you need me to do? Don't say, just breathe, take some deep breaths. Don't tell them you're fine, you're fine, you're gonna be fine, because the more it's kind of like you just that's just not what I want to hear in the moment. Like, you're gonna be fine, because somewhere in the back of my crazy mind at the moment, like, I know I probably will be, but that's not what I want to hear right now. What I want to hear is anything but what I'm going through. So just have that conversation that doesn't have anything to do with the panic attack. You can make sure they're safe. Like you can say, where are you? You know, where are you now? What do you see? Things like that. But when it comes to like how you're feeling and all that stuff, it's best to just not ask for details about that because it's only going to make them feel worse. Um, yeah, like during a panic attack, I personally don't have the capacity to explain what's happening, so that's not productive for me, and I'm sure it's not productive for them either. And if they tell you that, and if I were to say that, you know, it's not rejection, it's just my brain is overloaded, and I don't want to do that right there. Um, and I just wanted to kind of close this out by saying I don't talk about this much to anybody, but go ahead and subscribe to this channel and like it and throw me a comment because I'm trying to grow this here and help out as much as I can because it's coming from a real place trying to help people and it's therapeutic for me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. Again, I'm not. But yeah, I don't talk about this. I don't really tell people about it. Very, very, very few people know about this about me. I don't. Maybe it's a macho thing, and I don't want to look weak. Um, or maybe the other person just doesn't understand it, and I don't feel like explaining it to everybody. So I figure I would do it here. There's so many people out there in the world that struggle with panic attacks that do it silently. I've been one of those people for a long time, without talking about it, and it sucks to have to suffer in silence. You know what I mean? So talk to somebody that you trust. Tell them what you need when it's happening. So when it does happen, if it happens, they won't say the wrong thing. Kind of coach them before it actually happens. That's what I've found works for me. Hopefully, it works for you. But we'll dive in deeper to this topic on panic attacks. We'll go over some more details in like very very detailed manner. We'll also cover more topics like depression, situational depression, social anxiety, loss. I got plenty of that, plenty of stories about that kind of stuff. Um, yeah, and we'll just keep this going, and I'll keep posting videos, whether I get 4 views or 4 million. I'm just gonna keep doing it. So thanks for hanging out with me, and enjoy Sensitive Thug. All right, guys, I'm gone.